The Razor's Edge was written by W. Somerset Maugham and was first published in 1944. The book is set in the years following World War I and tells the story of a young American named Larry Darrell who seeks meaning and purpose in life after experiencing the horrors of war. Unlike many of his friends who focus on wealth and social status, Larry takes a different path, searching for spiritual enlightenment and personal fulfillment. The novel follows his journey across different countries and cultures, contrasting his choices with those of the people around him. The story begins in Chicago, where Larry is engaged to Isabel Bradley, a beautiful and intelligent woman from a wealthy family. They seem to have a bright future together, but Larry is deeply affected by his time as an ambulance driver in World War I. He feels disconnected from the life that society expects him to live and decides to travel instead of settling down into a conventional career. He tells Isabel that he wants to go to Paris to think about life and understand its deeper meaning. Isabel, who loves Larry but also values security and comfort, is confused by his decision. She hopes that he will change his mind and return to a normal life. However, as time passes, it becomes clear that Larry is determined to take a different path, one that leads him away from the social expectations of his wealthy peers. In Paris, Larry leads a simple life, reading philosophy and working on self-discovery. He spends time with different people, including an older man named Costi, who introduces him to various philosophical ideas. Unlike Larry, most of his friends from Chicago focus on climbing the social ladder. Isabel, after realizing that Larry will not change, decides to break off their engagement and later marries Gray Maturin, a successful but conventional businessman. Gray is kind and hardworking, but he lacks the depth and curiosity that define Larry. He eventually takes over his father's business and achieves the financial stability that Isabel desires, though their marriage lacks the passion and excitement she once imagined for herself. While Larry continues his journey, the novel also follows the lives of other characters. Elliot Templeton, Isabel's wealthy and snobbish uncle, is obsessed with high society and does everything he can to maintain his status. He moves between Paris and the French Riviera, seeking approval from the upper class. Despite his arrogance, Elliot is sometimes shown to be generous and even kind, but his main concern is always his own social standing. Over the years, he collects expensive art, attends exclusive parties, and works tirelessly to maintain his place in elite circles, even as his health begins to decline. His obsession with status contrasts with Larry's spiritual quest, creating a strong theme of materialism versus enlightenment. Larry's search for meaning takes him to different places, including India, where he spends time in an ashram, learning about Eastern spirituality and achieving a deep sense of inner peace. Through meditation and study, he gains wisdom that changes his outlook on life. He returns to Paris with a calm and understanding nature, completely different from the ambitious and restless people around him. His experiences lead him to adopt a philosophy of detachment, finding contentment in simple living and a rejection of material wealth. His newfound enlightenment is something that others, including Isabel, cannot comprehend. Meanwhile, Isabel and Gray go through difficult times. Gray loses his wealth in the stock market crash of 1929, which causes great stress for their family. They move to Paris, where they struggle to adjust to a simpler life. Larry, however, remains unaffected by material loss because he has never cared about money. He even helps Gray recover from his depression using techniques he learned in India. Isabel, although still drawn to Larry, cannot understand or accept his way of life. She admires his wisdom, but cannot let go of the belief that success is tied to financial stability and social status. Isabel's love for Larry is mixed with frustration as she struggles to understand his choices. Another important character in the novel is Sophie MacDonald, a childhood friend of Isabel and Larry. Sophie's life takes a tragic turn after her husband and child die in an accident. Heartbroken, she turns to alcohol and a reckless lifestyle. When Larry meets her again in Paris, he sees her suffering and wants to help her. He even proposes marriage, hoping to give her a new chance at life. However, Isabel, who is jealous and does not want Larry to marry Sophie, secretly tempts Sophie back into her destructive habits. As a result, Sophie disappears and is later found dead under mysterious circumstances. Larry is deeply saddened by her fate, but does not let it change his beliefs or his way of life. Sophie's death is one of the most tragic moments in the novel, showing the consequences of lost hope and missed opportunities for redemption. Isabel's interference in Sophie's life reveals her selfish nature and her deep insecurity about Larry's devotion to his ideals. As time passes, Elliot falls seriously ill. Even in his final moments, he still cares about his social reputation. Before dying, he receives a letter from a nobleman, granting him an invitation to an exclusive event, which makes him feel satisfied despite his poor health. His death highlights the emptiness of a life spent chasing status and wealth. Even though he has spent his life acquiring material possessions and social prestige, he dies alone, with little true happiness to show for his efforts. His final moments are ironic, as he achieves his lifelong goal of high social standing, but realizes too late that it has brought him no true fulfillment. By the end of the novel, Larry decides to leave Europe and return to America. He has found inner peace and no longer needs anything from the world. Isabel, who still has feelings for him, cannot understand why he chooses a simple and quiet life over wealth and success. She accepts that they will never be together, but remains unable to fully let go of her old feelings. Larry's departure serves as a final statement on his chosen path, one that rejects materialism and embraces spiritual fulfillment. His journey is a sharp contrast to that of his peers, who remain tied to their wealth and social concerns. The Razor's Edge is a story about different ways of living and finding meaning in life. It contrasts material success with spiritual fulfillment and shows how each character's choices lead to different outcomes. While some pursue wealth and social status, others search for deeper understanding. In the end, the novel leaves the reader with a question: what truly makes a life worthwhile? It also challenges the idea that financial security is the only path to happiness, presenting Larry as an example of someone who finds purpose in personal growth and enlightenment rather than external validation. The novel ultimately suggests that true fulfillment is found in self-discovery rather than societal approval.